Am I the bad guy for using up my siblings' college money? Since I, 19 female, was a child, my parents put an enormous amount of pressure on me to attend a prestigious college, a top 20 college in the US. They were basically tiger parents, and at some point, they managed to convince me that my life would be over if I didn't attend a highly prestigious college. I can't overemphasize how much of a toll this took on my life. For the 8-ish years I was focused on college admissions and my mental health. However, their efforts did work, and I was admitted to a top 20 university. On the flip side, they promised to cover my full tuition if I was admitted into a satisfactory school. However, tuition is extremely expensive. I'm about to finish my first year at university, and my parents have been paying. We don't get much financial aid as a result of my parents' income and savings. While my parents are able to comfortably pay for my college and maintain their life, they wouldn't be able to do so for any of my siblings. This has become an issue for my sister, 16 female, who's been asking about her college fund. My parents have enough to cover in-state tuition for her, but nothing compared to the amount they had saved for my tuition. They've also made it clear that they're not willing to spend as much on her college. Lately she's been resentful, saying I should have gone to a cheaper school, and I was taking away her opportunities. She wants to go to an expensive liberal arts college, but she won't be able to without loans. At the same time, she doesn't understand how stressful our parents can be, because they never focused on her the way they did on me. Because she had lower test scores and didn't get into our school's gifted program, she also had much less pressure to perform than I did, though my parents had much lower expectations for her, which always made me jealous. I don't think she realizes that I spent 8 years of my life trying to get into this university and dealing with our parents' stress. And now for the top comments. Your parents are the bad guys here. Exactly. This is like putting money on racehorses rather than setting up college funds impartially for all the kids. Yeah, no bad guys here, or at least not either of the two direct parties to the argument. Your parents are the ones who suck for giving up on your sister and putting all their expectations on your head. No bad guys here, except your parents. I'm not sure how to recommend navigating this with your sister. In your eyes, she benefited from the lack of pressure, but you need to open your eyes and realize that to her, you're the golden child and she feels your parents love you more. She doesn't have the pressure, but she also doesn't have the support. Your parents control the funds, and if you can't talk to them and recommend splitting the difference, the only thing you can really do is try to establish a better rapport with your sister. Commiserate in the tomfoolery of your parents. You may not have felt it the same way, but you both have been their victims. Not the bad guy for using the money you were told was for you, but your parents are major bad guys for not treating all of their children's educations like a priority. You sister is not the bad guy either, by the way. She's allowed to be hurt and snippy, but hopefully she realizes those feelings should be focused on your parents and not you. Am I the bad guy for refusing to delete my MyHeritage account after my sister told me to? For context, I, 18 female, have 2 older half-sisters, from my dad's side, and 2 younger brothers. A few years ago, I did one of these DNA tests because I found the idea super cool. My parents are from 2 different countries and one of them has seen a lot of migration in the area. When I joined, it immediately gave me a notification and showed me my cousin, from my dad's side, who had apparently done it a few years earlier. Last year, both my 2 maternal grandparents got the tests for their anniversary and also did it. This was even cooler because I could see how much I am related to each of them, etc. Since then, I've been trying to convince my dad to do it as well. The other day my sister, 22 female, and I were sitting at her cousin's house, 23 female, and I brought up the test. My sister got super upset and told me I should remove my account because it was also her DNA, and she didn't feel comfortable having it online. I was really surprised, and when I tried to protest, she said that it's like posting a picture on social media with her in it without asking her. When I brought up the fact that our cousin had an account as well, she said that it wasn't the same thing, as they weren't as closely related. When her cousin took my side, she got even more upset. We haven't spoken about it since we only saw each other once after that, since we live in different countries, and she didn't mention it. But I feel like there's an elephant in the room. My other sister also thought it was unreasonable and a strange reaction. At the same time, I can't stop thinking about it. I don't think I'm in the wrong if I don't delete my amount though, but what do you think? Edit, I think she might be worried about another sibling appearing. Since both my two sisters and I were by accident, but that's just me speculating because I'm not sure, she didn't make her reasoning very clear. And now for the top comments. Not the bad guy, but are you sure your half-sister is your half-sister? Yeah. Are you sure she has no criminal history? This would be a problem for her, as law enforcement has access. Not the bad guy. I am in the US and my problem with it is spending decades having no insurance to having pre-existing conditions. It has nothing to do with anything illegal but my medical conditions making it almost impossible to get coverage. I also wasn't comfortable with my kids getting certain tests done because of it. I know that at the moment there are laws that protect them but they can be repealed. I never want my kids to go through what I did. So I get where the sister is coming from. That said, you also can't stop people from doing these things. She is trying to control things that aren't hers to control. I was thinking more secret baby adoption to be honest. I had to read it twice, too funny, an extremely strange reaction from her. Not the bad guy. Why is she so worked up? And it's not at all her DNA, it's yours. You might not even have similar percentages, as she is your half-sister. LOL, I did it and my brother too. We have similarities but not at all the same and we have 100% same parents. Keep it and just enjoy discovering your origins. Half-siblings share roughly 25% of their DNA, but still, OP is not the bad guy. Am I the bad guy for refusing to speak to my mother? My mother has a tendency to cut me off when she feels like I've wronged her. It's usually when I stand up for myself or I do something she disapproves of. Backstory, she hates my husband, and nothing I seem to do is satisfactory. She was very close to my kids, likes picking them up, talking on the phone every day, etc. I also talked to my mother daily until this, so this last estrangement has been a doozy for me. Unbeknownst to me, my mother had been talking to my 13-year-old about the 3 miscarriages I had during the global thing, and telling her why I had no business having another baby. My mother also told my daughter she could run away to her house, and that she'd take me and her dad to court for child support. My mother has lied and led my, then 13-year-old, to believe that I am very sick. But that she can't tell me she knows because I would get upset. I am not sick. For longer than I realized, mother has been feeding my children outright lies about me and their dad, probably a lot more than I know, that I'm starting to discover more and more over the past several months. It has now been almost 7 months with no contact. She's missed all of our birthdays and holidays and hasn't attempted to reach out once. I spoke to one of my siblings and they mentioned that my mother feels like these things just happen in life sometimes, and you just have to be okay with it. I really don't know how to fix it or if I should be the one who, once again, tries to mend the relationship because she never does or apologizes. My therapist says to give it more time because she has never had to fix it before. Meanwhile, my daughter has turned 14 and also went to her first dance and my mother didn't make contact at all. So, I figure she really doesn't care either way. I only found out about all of what's been going on because a conversation of my daughter and my mother was accidentally recorded and sent to me. I couldn't even listen to it all at first, too heartbreaking. Why pretend to help and love me and hurt me at the same time? I had one conversation with my mother right after I listened to the recordings, and she took zero responsibility and deflected. After, I wrote her a letter expressing feelings and trying to make sense of why she'd do such a thing, and she responded that I was being immature and if I wanted to speak to her, I need to sit down and communicate face-to-face with her and my 13-year-old daughter, like a woman. I just felt like writing about some of it on here. I ask myself if I'm ready to have no contact with my mother for the rest of my life. I'm not, but there has to be boundaries before we can move forward. And if she doesn't accept them, I guess I have no choice. Am I the bad guy for not trying to fix the relationship and cutting off communication? And now for the top comments. Not the bad guy, bro. What the heck? Keep your children away from your mom. She's a monster. One of the few times I approve of using all capital letters. Not the bad guy. You have Stockholm Syndrome. You're codependent with an abusive narcissist. You need to get away ASAP, and forever. Protect your kids. Not the bad guy. By the way, nobody records such a conversation by accident and then sends it to the person who urgently needs a wake-up call. Your own mother is manipulating your children against you. She undermines you as a parent and grooms your kids into abandoning you. Someone recorded and sent this to let you know how serious the situation is, because you were blindsided. You better stay far away from your mother, and you keep your kids out of her reach. Not the bad guy. Why are you still trying to have a relationship with your mother? She doesn't love you and never has. She's trying to poison your kids against you, for goodness sake. Just cut her out, once and for all. Just because someone has birthed and raised you, doesn't mean you have to have a relationship with them. You will never, ever be good enough for her, no matter what you do. And if I were you, I'd specifically prohibit her from having any permission picking your kids up from school. Talk to the office staff about getting it in writing in each child's file. Am I the bad guy for telling my sister that I would not give her my driver's license to appeal her TikTok ban? For reference, I, 16 female, just got my license about 2 months ago. Today I was driving my sister, 15 female, to flute lessons, and when I parked, she told me her account got banned from TikTok for being underage, and that someone must have reported her. I laughed it off a bit, stating that she's really short and they must have confused her with a 12-year-old. Anyway, she then asked for my driver's license for her account appeal. Apparently, you can recover a banned account with a photo of your ID. In this case, my license. Immediately, I told her no. For one, it's my photo, my license. And two, I said that it must be some sort of fraud if I were to give it to her, since she's obviously not me. We look similar, but not similar enough to fool anybody. And three, I already have a TikTok, and it just feels wrong to give someone my ID. She got really huffy and said she would have done the same for me and that I'm overreacting. I felt pretty good about my decision as I was driving home, but now I kinda have my doubts. Am I the bad guy? And now for the top comments. Not the bad guy. You are absolutely right about never giving your photo ID to anyone else. It sounds like a good way to get banned on TikTok yourself. Also, don't give your personal identification documents to SUS private companies and/or apps. Only government, or if you're getting a job through one. You have no idea what they can do with it and to whom they sell their data. TikTok is the Chinese government. They have pretty good facial recognition software, so I'm not sure this would work. Not the bad guy. Does she also expect you to give her your license when you're 21, so she can go to the bars? They have this rule in place for a reason, and it will get you both in trouble if you're caught. I told her that and she said that was a false equivalence. Not what she actually said, something more along the line of, but that's different. If you help an underage person get into bars, you risk a hefty fine. If you trust TikTok with your identity, you risk identity theft. Is that similar enough? Not the bad guy. Don't do good things that look bad, or bad things that look good. This is fraud, and it's a bad thing. Not the bad guy. She's starting young with the identity theft, I see. Better watch your credit score in the future, LOL. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment down below. Thank you.